Hello, Caleb. Good to see you. Hello, Logan. Hello, Justin. Wow, you guys came in fast, eh? Appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well. Oh, Justin, welcome to the channel. Seems like you're new here. Justin, wow, you guys came in fast, eh? Hello, Ilias is back. Good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. Alright guys, we are gonna be recapping all of the action that happened today at the candidates. Hello, Lava. Hello, Rekurki. What? Exclaim Vaquita. The little purple cow is here. Move over and make some room. Hello, Zigzag. Hello, little Bo. I will be covering the entire third round. What? What kind of question is that, Mr. Hype Man? All right. Oh, yeah, but if you did get gifted a sub, you probably had to redeem it somehow. I don't know if you did. You probably didn't click on it, Zigzag. If you did, you probably would have gotten the gifted sub. Hello, GT Golfer. How to play against Old Benoni? Good question. Hello, Fine Brian. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, Jay Walker. Hello, Zealandzen. Hello to the YouTube chat. All right, now if you guys are ready, we're gonna do a quick recap of all of the games today. But also, I apparently have been permanently banned. All right, well, you probably found a way to escape the ban. Sometimes things like that happen, you know? It's a little bit weird. It says in notifications. Okay, well, I don't know. That's weird. I mean, I guess you'll have to figure that out with Twitch. Alright, anyway. I don't know, Mr. Hype Man. Anyway, we are gonna do a recap. So either you're ready for it or not. Although this game went on for a little while, let's see, 40 moves. Let's perhaps do this game first. Alright. Okay, let's have a look at Oh. Guys, do you guys like dogs? Yes? Alright. Okay, he just left. Okay. Alright. Anyway, only monsters don't love dogs, exactly. Yeah, no, dogs are great. They're... Oh, hello. Hey. Okay. High maintenance? What do you mean? What is there to know? Hello, Euphemist. Good to see you. All right, everyone. Okay, here. Okay. Well, yesterday wasn't boring, haha, heesh, but it wasn't a good day. What the heck? All right. I guess we'll... Hello? A preg game was spicy, that's right. Thanks, Iris, for the 3 months. Thank you. Appreciate it a lot. Welcome, welcome. Okay, anyway, we're gonna do a recap of all of the action today. Okay, if you guys are ready for it. Okay. Kinda. Yeah. Stay down. Okay, we're gonna do a video. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today was the third round of the FIDE Candidates Tournament in Canada. Okay, wait, let me start over again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today was the third round of the FIDE Candidates Tournament in Toronto, Canada. So a lot of action happened today. All games were decisive, so let's have a look at what happened in round number 3. So let's first have a look at some of the favorites in the tournament, the game between Alireza Firouzja and Fabiano Caruana. So Alireza was playing with the white pieces, and he opened up with the move 1e4, as expected. I mean, he usually opens up with 1e4, he's aiming for sharp play. The move by Fabiano is perhaps already a little bit surprising. I would expect Fabiano to play solid with a move like e5, but Fabiano decides to go for the Sicilian. So c5, a knight f3 by Firouzja, by far the main move. And here's the move knight to c6 by Fabiano. So this move he's inviting the open Sicilian, but white also has some other options. For example, the move Firouzja went for, the move bishop to b5, the Rossolimo. And the idea is that very often you do want to trade off your bishop for the knight and give black double pawns on the c-file. Furthermore, you can develop quickly with castles on the next move. Alright, so knight f6, and this definitely already is a first surprise by Fabiano, attacking the pawn on e4. The main moves in this position are g6, e6, but also e5 has become more popular in recent years. So knight f6, hitting the pawn on e4, and Firouzja decides to play the move a knight to c3, defending it. Firouzja, by the way, also still playing quite quickly, so it is clear that he has prepared this move as well. Another option white has here is something like e5, attacking the knight. The knight usually goes here. Moves like knight c3, offering a trade of that knights that way, but again, there's a lot of theory here. Don't want to get into too much depth. Knight c3 was the move chosen by Firouzja. Then knight at d4 by Fabiano, going after the bishop pair. Another perhaps slight surprise. Queen c7 is also one of the main moves here. So knight d4, e5, attacking the knight on f6. And we can clearly tell by the time expenditure that Firouzja, after move knight d4, was at least kind of out of book. He took 8 minutes for this move. So Fabiano trades off the knight for the bishop, Firouzja recaptures, and now goes knight to d5. Alright, so c4 by Firouzja, hitting the knight. Another very interesting option is the move a knight to g5, with the idea to put pressure here with moves like queen f3 coming quickly, hitting the knight, threatening this. And in case black goes e6 to attack the knight, now there's knight e4, and you cannot stop a knight from jumping into d6 with a big attack for white. Alright, so c4 was played, hitting the knight jumped back to c7. Firouzja moved the knight back, and now pawn to d5 by Fabiano. Perhaps an inaccuracy. It's logical that he wants to play in the center to bring out his bishop, but it seems like the right way to do so was the move d6 to also challenge this pawn on e5. Anyway, in both cases, white can take either after d6 or after d5, and that's what Firouzja did. He captured a pawn on croissant. I mean, hey, after all, it is forced. So he took the pawn. And here, I'm a little bit surprised that Fabiano did not take with the queen, because now the d pawn is a little bit backwards. He can go g6 afterwards, maybe bishop g4. But perhaps he was worried that Firouzja might get a quick initiative with moves like d4 coming. Anyway, pawn takes d6 was played. d4 by Firouzja, trying to open up the center. Bishop e7, castles, and bishop f4. So here, we see that black has the advantage of the bishop pair, but white has the advantage of having more space. White has the pawns on c4 and d4, and black has the pawns on c5 and d6. Now, you might be wondering, well, why is a space advantage an advantage? Well, you have more space, and that means that you can put your pieces on more active squares. For example, look at this bishop here, the knight here, and the knight here. And Firouzja's pieces, at least for the moment, are a little bit passive on the 7th and 8th ranks. Alright, so knight e6 by Fabiano, hitting the bishop and putting pressure on the pawn. The bishop moved back. And now knight to c7, an interesting move. So he wants to develop this bishop, perhaps to g4 or f5, and maybe at some point he wants to break with the move d5 in the center. So Firouzja plays h3, good move, stopping move, bishop g4 by Fabiano. Bishop to f5, therefore. Rook e1, rook e8, and queen in d2. Both sides slowly but surely bring their pieces into the game. And here Fabiano goes for a very nice move. He plays a move pawn to d5. Now, very often what you want to do if you have the bishop pair is you want to open up the center, because then the bishops get a lot of scope, right? If these pawns are all out of the way, these bishops can become very dominant. All right, so d5 was played, nice move. Now, the idea is that in case you take the pawn on c5, black takes the pawn on c4, and the material remains even. And if you take the pawn on d5, black plays the very strong move, pawn to c4. Temporarily sacrificing a pawn, but there's no good way to defend this double pawn on d5. So Firouzja plays bishop to f4, Fabiano takes the pawn, Firouzja goes rook e5, hitting the bishop and the knight, but now Fabiano just takes on c3. Another nice move would have been perhaps something like bishop e6, just defending the knight, but he decides to take on c3, and Firouzja recaptures. So now he's hitting the bishop and the pawn on c4, and Fabiano here decides to sacrifice a pawn. He could have solved both problems at the same time with the move bishop to d3, but here, you know, white can go for a move like rook a1, and the pin along the e-file is quite annoying to deal with. So queen to d7 was played, defending the bishop, but again, it does sacrifice a pawn, and Firouzja took it. Rook a c8, bring the rook into the game. Queen b5, Fabiano trades, and goes bishop to e4, because this bishop was under attack, and a pawn as well. Now, Firouzja has an extra pawn here, but again, Fabiano has the bishop pair. This pawn on d4 is isolated, so white definitely has chance to win, but it is not at all easy to convert or to create real winning chances. Because again, these bishops are very strong when the board is open, because they have all of those diagonals to operate with. Alright, so d5 was played by Firouzja, but now Fabiano goes a6. With the move d5, Firouzja is cutting off this diagonal, but now by going a6, white can take, but after takes, there's no more a hanging pawn on a7. So that is what happened. Firouzja goes rook d7, hitting the bishop. Bishop to e6, hitting the rook. Rook a7, rook a8. The rooks get traded off. And once again, white has that extra pawn, but again, it's super difficult to ever do anything with it. This bishop over here is pretty nice. The other bishop can come out here, or just stay on this diagonal. So very difficult for white to ever make any progress. So a3 was played. h6 by Fabiano, just creating some room for the king. Rook to e1, rook to d8, activating the rook. Bishop e5, rook d5, bishop to c3, bishop c5. And again, like, it's very difficult to see what white is ever going to do, because those black bishops are so strong. So he played knight e5, king h7, knight f3, bishop d7. And I feel like already the moves knight e5 and knight f3, to me, is an indication that Firouzja didn't know what to do, and he didn't mind a draw from now on anymore. Rook e5 was played, offering the trade of rooks. Fabiano decides to keep the rooks on the board with a check. Now you cannot go here, as that leads to a disaster after bishop to d6, and you lose in exchange. So Firouzja played rook to e1, rook d5, rook e5, check, and so this game ends in a draw. So fine results for both players. I think especially for Fabiano, he gets a difficult black game out of the way. For Firouzja, obviously it's not at all a disaster to draw the rating favorite in the tournament, but he does lose a white game, and he is still in the bottom half of the field. Alright, now let's move on to another game. So now we have a look at the game between Gukesh and Nepo. So Gukesh, like he did on round number 1, opened up with the move d4. By the way, Gukesh and Nepo are two of the leaders going into this round. Both of them are on 1.5 out of 2. So let's see how this round plays out. So pawn d4 was played, knight f6 by Nepomniachtchi, c4, e6, and now g3. So g3, one of the main moves, going for the Catalan opening, and so Jan decides to go for the move d5. Black's idea behind the move knight f6 and e6 is to go into the Nimzo Indian in case white plays the move knight of c3. Now you can go bishop b4 and pin the knight. But okay, Gukesh had other ideas. He plays the move g3, very clearly going for the Catalan. d5, bishop to g2. And here, quite a surprise by Nepomniachtchi. Nepomniachtchi in the World Championship match in 2021, and also in the World Championship in 2023, played the move bishop to e7, going for a very solid setup with castles after. And I'm a little bit surprised as to why he decided to switch it up. Alright, so he played the move c5, a move that is not as popular as some of the alternatives. Now Gukesh decided to take on d5, Nepo recaptured, and now knight to f3, developing the knight. And so what do we see here after a trade on d4, white castled, bishop to c5, white takes here. The structure is even. It's symmetrical because both players do not have c and d pawns. But the big advantage white has here is the fact that white has this very active diagonal for his bishop. Whereas the bishop on c8 is kind of passive. And it's not so easy to deal with all of those problems. And we'll see that come into play later on. So castles was played by Nepomniachtchi, knight to b3, hitting the bishop, forcing it away. The bishop moved to e7. And now Gukesh plays the move e4, attacking the knight and grabbing more space in the center. Knight to b4, knight c3. Here perhaps a slight inaccuracy by Nepomniachtchi. Maybe he should have traded queens on d1 right away, forcing Gukesh to recapture with the f-rook. Because in the game he delays that trade, he goes knight a to c6, bishop b3, and now he trades. But now he gives Gukesh the possibility to recapture with the a-rook, bringing that rook into the game. The problem is here you don't want to take with the f-rook anymore because black goes knight to c2, hitting the rook and the bishop. You're not losing material, but this trade is terrible because now you get doubled isolated pawns on the e-file and black is very comfortably better. So rook 81 by Gukesh, knight e5 by Nepo, aiming for the c4 square, hitting the bishop and the pawn. And Gukesh plays a3, kicking the knight away. The knight has to step back. And now he goes f4, kicking the other knight away and gaining more space in the center. So knight c4 was played, hitting the bishop and the knight. Bishop to c1, solving both problems at the same time. And now Nepo goes f6, an understandable move. He wants to stop the move e5 by Gukesh, opening up the long diagonal for his light square bishop. So f6, but now Gukesh comes up with another very nice plan. He plays the move rook fe1. And his idea is to go bishop to f1, kick the knight away, and once the knight moves, then his other bishop can come out to play again. So Nepo played rook to b8, bishop f1, and knight to d6. But now Gukesh just continues with his plan. He plays, or actually he don't, he goes knight to b5, offering the trade of knights. And the idea behind this trade is that after takes, it is difficult to bring this bishop into the game. You cannot go bishop d7. You can also not go b6, as that will hang the knight on c6. The idea behind the move b6 is to go here, but obviously it doesn't work. So Nepo played king to f7, bishop e3 by Gukesh, bring the bishop into the game, and putting pressure on the pawn on a7. And here Nepo is in some danger. Again, the structure is pretty symmetrical, but white has more space in the center. And on the king side, also has nice pressure here. And black is struggling to develop. So Nepo played the move a6, kicking the bishop away. The bishop moved all the way back to e2. And now he goes b5, gaining a little bit more space on the queen side. And enabling himself to develop that light square bishop to the b7 square. Alright, so knight c5 by Gukesh, making it difficult for that bishop to develop. Now in case you go here, there's a fork on the d7 square, so you cannot do that. So rook to d8 was played by Nepo. Gukesh trades, black recaptures, and he goes rook to c1, x-raying the loose knight on c6. Nepo goes bishop to b6, making sure that this knight cannot move for the moment, as that will hang the bishop on e3. King f2 by Gukesh. We see a trade, white recaptures, and bishop to b7. But at this point, it's clear that things are looking really good for Gukesh. He's got a very nice bishop pair, more space, some of the black pawns are loose, and so it feels like Nepo is under real pressure here. And Gukesh just slowly but surely improves his position. He goes king to e3, bring the king closer to the center, making sure that this pawn is always protected. Rook to d8. And perhaps here, what he should have done is go for the move a4, trying to loosen up the black pawns on the queen side. And the idea is that in case you take, now you have ideas of, let's say, rook c4, taking here, and then also the pawn on a6 is weak. And you also sometimes have ideas of bishop to c4 followed by f5. Actually here not, because of knight a5, but it is an idea to keep in mind. Anyway, he played bishop to b6, hitting the rook. The rook stepped up. And actually, right here is where he should have gone for that idea. He had to move a4, sacrificing the pawn. And again, with the idea that in case black takes, now you can go bishop c4, as now there's no knight a5 to kick the bishop away. And f5 here will come with more effect, because not only will it win a pawn in case white takes, white will also have a fork on the king and the rook. But Gukesh plays the move rook d1, and I think this is a little bit too timid. Now the rooks can come off, and it feels like black is definitely still under pressure, but the position might become more manageable now. With the rooks off the board, there is not as much pressure anymore. So this rook is kind of passive, and this rook was kind of active. So we see a trade, g6 by Nepomniachtchi, bishop to c5, h5, gaining some space on the queen side, on the king side, sorry, b3, and now Nepo goes for a very nice move. He goes for the move bishop to c8. He wants to go e5, gaining space in the center, and now this bishop can come out here. And I think, you know, Gukesh had a nice advantage, but I think the real reason why he let it slip perhaps a little bit is the clock. Nepo still had a very comfortable 44 minutes on the clock, whereas Gukesh had 6 minutes. And also you have to keep in mind that there's no increment, so it's very difficult to find those super precise moves to really tighten the screws on your opponent. So bishop to c8, now he goes a4, trying to loosen up that pawn, e5 by Nepomniachtchi, we see a trade, and now the move f5. So his idea is to take and try to loosen up that pawn on h5, and also, you don't quite want to take. I mean, you can, but the problem is that white is going to take here. And first of all, white will now get an outside passer, and you can always use that outside passer to deflect the black king while you are going pawn hunting in the center and on the queen side. Furthermore, if these pawns clean up, then the white king will get a very clean path of entry. So Nepo keeps the structure. He plays the move king to g7. We see a trade, and now bishop g4. Excellent move. Bring the bishop into the game. This trade is completely fine for black, because now this pawn on g4 completely neutralizes white's majority on the king side. And actually, black has a very good chance to win here, as black can take here and create a pass pawn himself on the king side. Whereas, again, white cannot do that on the king side, because if you go h4, black is going to take it. Alright, so bishop to c2 by Gukesh, keeping the bishops on the board. But now Nepo goes bishop to e6, king d2, b4, another very precise move by Nepo. If you take the pawn right away, then there's king c3, and the pawn on b5 can become a little bit vulnerable, with bishop d3 coming next. But with b4, now there's no more a clear wave entering the position. This bishop is clamping, is keeping this bishop passive, defending the b3 pawn. The king cannot come and invite us, the d3 and the c4 square. So it feels like right now we're just headed towards a draw. So Gukesh played bishop d1, Nepo took the pawn, and a draw was agreed. So very nice defensive effort by Jan. He manages to hold this game with the black pieces. Super important for his chances. Gukesh, however, misses some chances, but it's really impressive how the 17-year-old is doing in this tournament, and he's still tied for the lead. Alright, now let's have a look at two players that are in the bottom half. We have the players Nijat Abbasov, the lowest seed in the field, so it's not completely unexpected that he is in the bottom half, but I don't think a lot of people would have expected Hikaru to be in the bottom half as well. Anyway, let's have a look. Nijat has been playing very solid chess in this tournament, so let's see what he's going to do in this game. In this game, he opens up with the move d4, and here a bit of a surprise by Hikaru. Hikaru often has played the King's Indian in games that he would really want to win, or sometimes the Nimzo Indian, because he is outrating his opponent by 150 points. And, you know, in a candidates, a tournament that you have to win, you would expect him maybe to take some chances and try to beat Nijat, even though he does have the black pieces. Alright, but Hikaru plays the move d5 with c4, the Queen's Gambit, and Hikaru plays the move c6, the start of the Slav defense. Alright, the Slav, very solid opening, very easy to learn. It's an opening I've taught to a lot of my students. I also have a video on it, feel free to check it out. One of the drawbacks of the Slav at a higher level, and especially if you do want to win with the black pieces, is that white does have this move, pawn takes d5, going for the exchange Slav, keeping the structure very symmetrical. Hikaru recaptured, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3. The advantage of the trade, though, is that now your knight can come out to this active c6 square, bishop f4, and here the move a6 by Hikaru. The idea behind the move a6 is that you want to develop this bishop either to g4 or f5, and that's what Hikaru does here. And now in case white goes queen b3, which is often an annoying move to deal with, you now have the more comfortable knight a5, hitting the queen, defending the pawn. And the difference is that now in case white gives a check, you have to move b5 because you already have that pawn on a6. So that is the idea. Now, Nijat keeps it very solid. He goes for the move h3. Hikaru decides to trade. It's a little bit risky to keep this bishop on the board a little bit longer, as then white has ideas of g4, hitting the bishop moves back, and then like knight e5 combined with a quick h4, h5. So the right move is to trade. But this does give white the bishop pair. Now, the thing is, white does have the bishop pair, but the position is fairly closed, and black can quickly try to trade off one pair of bishops, and that's what Hikaru does here. He goes e6, rook to c1, and then bishop to d6, trying to get those dark squared bishops off the board very quickly. Nijat goes bishop to d3, we see a trade, and now castles by Hikaru. So castles, rook to c8, contesting the half-open c-file. Nijat perhaps is a tiny bit better here, after maybe like a3, knight a4, knight c5, maybe double up the rooks. But it's very difficult for either side to make anything happen. Queen f3, queen d6 now by Hikaru, queen e2, we see knight e7, queen e2, knight e7, knight e2, g6, we see a trade, rook c1, there goes another pair of rooks. Honestly, this game, there's no other way to put it than saying that this game is boring. We see bishop d3, knight b4, bishop back, knight c6, and eventually this game ended in a repetition of moves and a draw. So, I mean, not a terrible result for Hikaru, however, he does stay in the bottom half of the field. He's only a point behind though, and the tournament is still very, very long, still 11 more rounds to go. A normal tournament would not have even started yet at this point. However, you know, given the fact that he is playing the lowest seed in the field, you know, he might have felt that, you know, maybe I should have taken a little bit more risk, but anyway, we'll see how this will play out in the next couple of rounds. Also, Nijat apparently said in an interview that he wasn't feeling too well, so maybe, you know, if Hikaru had known that, then he, like I said, maybe he would have taken a little bit more risk. Anyway, let's have a look at the next game. But also, one thing I did want to point out, if you're playing a very well prepared player rated 2630, it is difficult to beat them with the black pieces in case they play super solid. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. The next game was the game between Vidit Gujrati and Praggnanandhaa. This one, definitely the game of the round. So let's have a look. Vidit opens up with the move 1e4. Also, by the way, going into this round, Vidit was one of the leaders with 1.5 out of 2, and Praggnanandhaa was in the bottom half with half a point out of 2 games. So e4 was played, e5 by Pragg. Also, by the way, note that Vidit spent like a minute on the first move, but again, he just wants to get into the zone, take a little bit of time, and fully immerse himself into the playing arena. So now knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to b5, the start of the reload pass. Now many moves have been played here. Knight f6, the solid Berlin defense. You can go into the Marshall, other systems like the Archangel. Pragg goes a6, all of this is normal. Bishop a4, but here he shocks the entire world of chess with the move pawn to f5, the delayed Schliemann gambit. Now, the move f5 is definitely also a move here. It's called the Schliemann or the Jaenisch gambit. But here, it's a little bit less common. Now, there are some advantages to having moves a6 and bishop a4 included, but the drawback is that now white has the move d4. If you play the move d4 against the direct Jaenisch gambit, it's not as good. Because here, black can take on e4, attack your knight. You can take the pawn on e5, but black will take. You recapture. And now there's the move pawn to c6, hitting the bishop. And in case you move the bishop, then there's queen a5 check, and black wins the pawn on e5. So that's no good. You know, the move d4 is a move you might know from the Vienna gambit, which, you know, let me quick opening lesson here in case white goes knight c3, knight f6, f4 here, d5 is the move. But as I showed, that bishop on b5 is actually to your disadvantage because of that move c6, followed by queen a5. Alright, so pay attention. But now, since black has played a6 and a5, here the move d4 is best again. So d4, striking in the center. So Pragg takes the pawn, and here the move e5. White sacrifices a pawn, but the idea is that now it's very difficult for black to develop that knight to f6. So Pragg goes b5, bishop b3, and knight to a5, putting pressure on that bishop over here. Knight takes d4, regaining the pawn, and now bishop to b7. And again, look at the time expenditure. Vidit here spending 18 minutes on the move knight takes d4, making it very clear that he is out of book. Prag plays bishop to b7, attacking this pawn over here. And here the critical move is the castle, defending that pawn over here, getting the king out of the center. You might be wondering, well, why would Vidit not do that, right? I mean, you know, I see that this pawn is hanging. I mean, I want a castle. Well, the thing is, after move castles, you do have to reckon with the move c5, hitting the knight. And if you take the pawn over here, there is the move c4, trapping the bishop on b3. So you have to be ready to sacrifice a piece. And keep in mind that Pragnananda is well prepared. Vidit is not. So do you want to sacrifice a piece against a, you know, practically a computer? I mean, it might be the best continuation, but if you don't know the ins and outs, it's very understandable that Vidit did not feel comfortable going for this. So he goes for the move knight takes a5, but it turns out that this might be a slight mistake. Prag takes the bishop and now plays the move pawn to d6, trying to regain this pawn over here. Queen e2 by FIDE, defending the pawn and extracting the king on e8, and now the move queen to d7 by Prag, attacking the knight on f5. He's sacrificing another pawn, but in case you take, with check by the way, black just goes king f7. And the knight's under attack, black wants to go rook to e8, this is hanging. You have knight e3, which solves a lot of the problems at the same time. Close the e file, defends this. But it turns out that after takes, black gets pretty good compensation. Black is going to go rook e8, knight f6, rook f8, and all of the black pieces are super active, and this black king can always step back to the g8 square. So, very nice opening play here by Prag, and that's why Vidit didn't want any of this. He played the move pawn to e6, hitting the queen moved to c6, attacking the pawn over here. And here Vidit played bishop to g5, a very interesting move. He's stopping Prag, at least for the moment, for going queenside castle, as now that bishop is controlling the square. And in this position, Pragnananda played the move pawn to h6, trying to push that bishop away. And Vidit gave a check on the black king. The king cannot move anywhere. And Prag was like, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. He completely missed that move. So he played g6, and Vidit was like, I'm sorry, bro. He took, and that was checkmate. So Vidit won a very nice game with the white pieces in round number 3 and takes the lead in the candidates tournament. I hope all of you guys enjoy watching, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. Just kidding, that's not what happened. Of course, Prag did not play the move h6, that's terrible. He played the move g6, kicking the knight away. The knight moved back to e3 to defend the pawn on g2, and now he goes h6, pushing the bishop away. Now, as I was following this game, bishop f4 was played in knight e7, I became more and more concerned about Vidit's chances. Not only is Pragnananda already better, also Vidit is seriously down on the clock. He's got 38 minutes, and keep in mind that for the first 40 moves, there is no increment, so you have to do it with the time you have. And, you know, if you run out of time, you literally lose the game. So he played the move c4, and now b4, another very nice move by Prag. He's stopping this knight from developing to the c3 square, and he's keeping the queenside closed, which is where he wants the castle. Queen g4, queen c5, nice move. We see castles, and now bishop to g7, developing the bishop and attacking that pawn on b2. So we see knight to d2, and here perhaps a mistake by Pragnananda. I like the idea of queenside castling and then trying to attack this king over here. But maybe objectively it would have been better to go kingside castling. But I understand black's kingside is a little bit soft with the pawns in g6 and h6. So I understand that he didn't want to go for this. Instead he goes for queenside castles. But now Vidit, what he should have done is go for the move knight to d5. Hitting this knight over here. He is giving back the pawn, but in case you take, there you can take back right away or maybe throw in a check. And it turns out that white is doing quite alright in the complications. Now, Vidit plays the move h4. This is definitely way too slow. He's stopping the move g5 by Prag. It's understandable because Prag has some ideas to go g5, hit this bishop, and if the bishop moves back, then h5, hitting the queen, followed by h4. But again, g5 might not even be a real threat because in case you take, this is hanging. And again, there were tactics with knight to d5. So H4 definitely way too slow, and also this is weakening the white king a little bit. Prag goes rook d8, activating his rook d1, and now takes the pawn on b2, restoring the material balance. So FIDE goes knight to d5, giving up yet another pawn, but Prag just takes it, takes the pawn on d5, and it's not clear at all what white has for the pawn here. I mean, black's got a very nice pair of bishops, the pawn on e6 is weak, white's king a little bit weakened now that this move h4 has been played. So FIDE gives a check over here with e7, checking the king. Prag just slides his king over to b8, bishop e3, attacking the queen. The queen moves over here, defending the pawn on c4, and now knight to c4, attacking the bishop. But Prag just very calmly plays the move bishop to c3, nicely anchoring in his bishop over here. Bishop d4, nice move by FIDE, hitting the rook and the bishop. Prag again, super calmly, just plays the move. Oh, he went there. Rook h7 also would have been a good move, hitting this pawn over here. But he goes rook to g8, and I think with this move, he wants to go g5 later on to try to open up that g file to hit the pawn on g2. Alright, so we see a trade. Queen d4, big mistake by FIDE. But again, he is getting low on time, only 9 minutes on the clock, and he needs to make another 12 moves, so less than a minute per move. He should have played knight a3 first, hitting the queen, and in case the queen moves, then rook e1 to defend this, but all of this is not easy to figure out during the game. Instead, he plays the move queen e4, hitting the bishop and the pawn, but Prag just very calmly moves the bishop back to b7. And also notice how quickly Prag is playing now. He's also not only playing the position, he's also trying to put FIDE under pressure on the clock. Because again, FIDE has only 5 minutes left and needs to make another 11 moves. So he takes the pawn, Prag takes the pawn, knight a5, and Prag goes rook to e5, hitting the knight. Now, I think here, FIDE arguably made maybe the decisive mistake of the game. He should have traded off his knight for the bishop, because then in case black recaptures, you always have ideas of rook d4, trying to swing the rook over here, maybe rook here. But his move actually, the move that he plays here actually takes away a lot of his counterplay. He plays the move b4. But now, like I said, that b4 square is never again available for a rook or a queen. So this only makes the black king safer, and Prag here goes for his own counterplay with the move g5. Trying to open up that g file for the rook to hit the pawn on g2. FIDE's like, no, I don't want that h file I don't want that g file to open up. He goes h5. And Prag's like, I do want that g file to open up, and he goes for the move g4. Wants to go g3, also hit this pawn over here, and it's super difficult to see how FIDE can hold all of this together, and again, he was in serious time pressure. So he plays rook fe1, g3, nice move by Prag, creating some tension between the pawns, and the white king is going to get open up here. FIDE trades off that super strong bishop on b7, but now Prag takes for the check, takes on b7, hitting the pawn over here, and FIDE with barely any time left goes queen f3, offering the trade of queens, defending this pawn, but again, Prag super calmly plays the move rook to g5, hitting the pawn. FIDE trades, Prag recaptures, FIDE goes g4, Prag takes, and FIDE finally reaches the time control with rook d6, but he reaches the time control, but with a completely losing position. He is down 2 pawns, and yeah, in an endgame, there's just no chance of saving this. Rook h4, hitting the pawn. He took the pawn on h6, rook to g5. This h-pawn is going to disappear. He moves the rook to h7, rook takes, rook d7, king c8. Now the only chance white still has here is the fact that there's 2 rooks on the board. Now if you can create an attack with the 2 rooks, it might not be easy for black to convert, but if Prag is able to trade off 1 pair of rooks, then the game should be completely over. So rook e7 was played, rook to e5, offering the trade of rooks, rook g7, and now Prag gives a check, and FIDE resigned. The reason why FIDE resigned is that after he moves the king, now Prag can just go rook g5, trade of the rooks, there's no more worries for black, you can go here, and again, with a 3 versus 1 majority, black is easily winning here. So very nice game for Prag. He comes back into the standings, he moves back to 50%. FIDE, he had a great game yesterday, crushing Hikaru with the black pieces, but today he loses and he's back to 50% as well. So with all of that, let's have a very quick look at the standings. We have the following standings right here. Okay, I see it's a little bit off, but Fabiano is in the lead with Gukesh and Nepo with 2 points. Then we have Vidit and Prek with 1.5. And then we have some players with 1 point. Nijat, Ali Reza, and Hikaru. So we'll see how they're going to do in the next games to come. Hikaru indeed is not too far behind. Again, it's a very long tournament, so still all to play for. And let's also very quickly have a look at the pairings tomorrow. So tomorrow, we see that Hikaru is playing with the white piece against Prek. Prek is proving himself to be super well prepared for this event. Not going to be easy. Jan Pomyashi is playing with the white piece against Vidit. Vidit has proven himself to be very strong mentally. He can definitely come back, but Nepo, you know, he's very dangerous with the white piece, so we'll see how that game turns out. We have Fabiano Caruana against Gukesh. Fabiano, one of the leaders. Gukesh as well, so that one will be exciting. And this one is going to be fire. The game between Nijat Abasov and Hikaru today was pretty boring, but I don't expect Veruja to do the same thing. Veruja, he is going to bring fire. He is going to do something. He's going to imbalance the game, and he's going to take his chance, especially because Abasov admitted that he's not feeling well today. So I'm very curious to see what Veruja is going to do. One thing you have to keep in mind, though, is that maybe what Abasov is doing, maybe he's playing some games. You know, maybe he's thinking, hey, I'm going to play super solid. I'm going to let these people come at me, take a lot of risk, and when they take a lot of risk, that's when I'm going to strike. So I'm super curious how tomorrow's going to play out. At any rate, I do hope that all of you guys enjoyed this recap, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. All right, everyone. All right, anyway, we finally get done with the video. Hello, Macaronos. Good to see you. Hello, everyone on Kick. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Meow. Hello, Fine Brian. Hello, Soccerfoot. Good to see you. Hello, Starting Chess, Perpicante. Issy, Starting Chess, Logan. Good to see all of you guys. And also, big shout out to everyone on YouTube. All right, so yeah, let me know what you guys think. It was a very exciting day today. Good round for Prek. I mean, he came back to 50%. Super important. Because you don't want to be stuck in the bottom half for too long. You want to try to bounce back as quickly as possible. And that's why, again, I'm a little bit surprised by Hikaru's approach today. But yeah, it is what it is. Hello, Hillbilly Crypto. There hasn't been enough drama. Exactly. Yeah, we need someone to flag. Someone to do something crazy in time pressure. That's what we need for this event to explode. Alright, so hope all of you guys enjoyed the recap. I'll upload it real soon on my YouTube. Like now. It's funny, all of my videos are the same length. They're all like 37, 36 minutes. I guess that's just how long I take to go through these games. Give me just a second, I have to do some stuff real quick. to upload the video. Oh, thank you, Sorod. Yeah, no, it's I like commenting on these games, either like as a commentator on my own channel or on other channels. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's not been Hikaru's event so far. I don't know why. But yeah, the thing is, Hikaru did not win today with black against 1v4 because he did not follow my course. He should have followed my course, and then he would have won, but he did not. So that's what happens. It's almost challenging me. Okay, anyway. Video will be up shortly, just needs to process for a little bit, that's how it goes. Thanks Orange Crush for the follow, welcome. Hikaru talk, okay, good questions. The names of course is OP, exactly. I haven't been checking in with the women's candidates, honestly. Hello, Bembley. Talked about it yesterday in post-game interview. What exactly did he talk about? I slightly disagree. I feel like if you are playing with the black pieces, it is difficult, but it's not like impossible to win. And like he is better. So I feel like he should have tried a little bit more. Yeah, Abasov not the most exciting, but I cannot blame him, Chesslover. I think Abasov's strategy is very clear. He just wants to play very solid with the white pieces. Also, you have to keep in mind, that with every draw, he gets an additional 3,500 euros or dollars, whatever it is. And so Abasov playing super solid, and he's just telling his opponents, like, hey, if you want to beat me, you're going to have to take risks. And if they take risks, that's when he's going to take more chances. So I think what he is doing is a completely valid strategy. I think it's the best strategy he has. Oh yeah, yeah. All right. Anyway, let's do some React Andy. Let's do some React Andy. Do some other videos. By the way, let me check. By the way, check out Star Trek. Exclamation mark star. Now, with hearing me talk about the candidates, some of you guys might be getting pretty hungry. I understand. I fully would understand. Right now I'm in the US. Heesh. I feel like I could win a game or two wouldn't be easy. Starving. Well, Spice, I've got some great news for you. You will be in for some great news. Spice, you know, he's been around. So he should have an idea what I could be referring to. You have no clue. No clue zone in chat. It's not Cake, it's not Steve. Alright. Give me a second. Alright guys, for this month we are sponsored by HelloFresh, so check them out. They have got some great food. You can... Wait, is that command already added? The thing is, you don't even need... Exactly, you don't even need a microwave for this stuff. It just all gets delivered, and you can all cook it super fresh. So subscribe to HelloFresh and use my code POCHF1327 blah blah to receive 16 free meals plus free dessert for life while subscription is active. Yeah, so check it out, guys. I really like HelloFresh. I really like HelloFresh. I'll definitely be talking about it more in upcoming streams. But their food is amazing. Their food is truly amazing. Like, they all put it in a box. It's all super fresh. And then the only thing you need to do is cook it. And they have plans for pretty much everyone. They have like plans for two people households, for 4 people. Whoa, by the way, I see somebody signed up for Star Trek. Really do appreciate that. That also supports the channel. Now, what you also have to keep in mind that signups only count in the US, you know, towards the goal. And also, people who do sign up for HelloFresh using my link would really support the channel. Cannot stress that enough. So if you do, I'd be more than happy to offer you a game analysis, something like that, to try to help you improve your game. You know, here's the thing. If you sign up for HelloFresh, I will give you a quick on-stream lesson. So I will go to your profile, I will look at your games, and I will tell you what you're doing wrong and what you have to improve upon. Probably new accounts, Chess Lover. But check it out. If you use my code and my account, and you can cancel your plan at any moment. If you don't like your plan, you can cancel it. I will not tell you guys how garbage you are. I'll tell you, like, hey, you're doing this well, but you also have to improve in this. Anyway, let's see what was said today. Okay. Corey did his recap, so let's listen in.
Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the third round of the FIDE Canada's tournament being held here in Toronto, Canada. Now, yesterday I had a very difficult second round game. I lost to the Indian player, beat it Santosh.
How do I get better at openings? What you do is you sign up for HelloFresh using my link, and then I will go to your profile and tell you what you have to do better. And you can check out the course as well. But already, here's the thing. If you use my link signing up for a HelloFresh plan, you get a big discount. And you pretty much get a free lesson on stream.
But today we're back and I'm playing in the third round. Now, obviously, after a very difficult defeat, you're in a tough situation, especially when you lose with white pieces, because normally that means you're playing with the black pieces in the following round. Now, my opponent, Nishan Abasov from Azerbaijan, is the lowest rated player in this tournament. He went on a magical Cinderella run to the FIDE World Cup, where he finished in the top 4 to qualify for this event. So, I'm playing against Abasov in the third round, and you might be wondering, what is my strategy? Now, initially, after I lost the game to FIDE, very briefly, I thought about going insane, throwing everything against the wall, and trying to take huge risks. Now, one of the reasons I chose not to do that before we dive into the game is that I feel as though in most of Canada's tournament, it tends to come down to the last couple of rounds. Whether it be nerves, whether players start going crazy, it feels like normally in the final couple of rounds, anything can happen, and for that reason, I decided to be a little bit more solid. So let's get right into the action. So the game starts with d4. Here I play the move d5, and now we get c4, and I play the Slav defense. Now Slav defense is an opening that I've not played a lot in recent time. I did play it a lot during the period 2009 to about 2012, but it's not something that I played recently. Nonetheless, I decided to try and surprise my opponent. Now, one of the big drawbacks of this opening, of course, is that as we see in the game, Abasov plays what we call the exchange Slav. Now, the reason they call this exchange is because when you look at the position, you'll notice that we have a mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, with mirrored pawns on d4 and d5. So basically, white can push these two pawns, but after the trade, they're no longer pawns on c5. Everything is completely symmetrical, and generally this is not considered an attempt to try and win for the player with the white pieces. However, there also tends to be very little as well, and I think my opponent Abasov wanted to be extremely solid.
I don't think Car broke mirror.
Knight c3, I play knight f6, knight f3, and now I go knight c6. Now, in this exchange swap, normally if white is trying very hard to win the game, usually you bring the bishop out, and then you move this pawn to e3. And the reason for that is white can try to develop this knight to e2 versus putting it on this f3 square. Now, black has many ways to play against the system, but generally, if the player with white pieces try to win the game, usually it goes something like, let's say, bishop f5, let's just say, actually not bishop f5, normally black plays like e6 or a6, let's just say e6 for argument's sake, bishop to d3, bishop e7, and now something like knight to e2 here, where white gets the two b's out on the diagonals, and white additionally here has these knights developed on e2 and c3.
But the knight is slightly misplaced on e2. The knight should normally develop to f3 anyway. But anyway, let's continue watching.
Where they connect to each other. However, Abasov plays with knight f3. Generally, when you get the mirror on the board here with these knights all in the same squares and the pawns on d4 and d5, generally this is considered to be very, very dry, and the game tends to trend towards a draw. So, when Abasov played knight f3, knight 6, I already was kind of unhappy because I had a feeling this game might be headed down the path of being a very boring draw. Game continues with bishop to f4, and now I play this move a6. Now, of course, those of you guys who play chess a long time, you're probably wondering why not bishop f5. And in fact, many grandmasters who have made grandmaster draws generally play like this, where you get e3, e6, bishop d3, takes, bishop d6, takes, castles, something like rook d1, rook d8, rook c1, and rook c8. And once again, we have a perfect mirror. All of the pieces are on the identical squares here for both sides, and generally there are many games that have ended a draw here. I want to say at least 100 plus games between grandmasters that have finished with something exactly like this. So, I play a6 here because, of course, I'm in it for content. I don't want to have a really quick draw. I don't want to play a mirror game. I want to have something to explain to you guys, the fans at home. So I play a6 here, which is a move that stops white from putting either knight or bishop here down the road, for example. Perhaps white could try and pin the tail on the donkey with bishop b5, pinning the knight on c6. But when I go a6 here right away, it's a prophylactic. It stops knight b5, but it also stops white from putting the bishop on the square as well. So I play a6. Game.
I mean, like I explained in my recap, the main idea behind the move a6 is that in case white goes knight b3, queen b3 later, you have to move knight a5. And then, wait, let me show you right here. Here, in case white goes queen b3, you go knight a5, and after queen a4, you go b5. That's one of the main ideas, that you have that b5 square now covered. But of course, to be fair, also knight b5, bishop b5 is not available. But that's really the main idea behind the move a6. Anyway, let's keep watching.
Here, h3 is played, and now I trade the bishop for the knight. Queen takes bishop, and I play e6. Here, rook c1 is played, and now I go bishop to d6. Now, in this position, Abasov plays move bishop d3, and this took me very much by surprise. Now, whether it's with this rook c1 move order or the other order with bishop d3, normally white always goes bishop to g5 here, pinning the knight and avoiding the trade of d.
But I also had a game here with white pieces last year in the Spring Classic, and shockingly, that game ended in a draw.
These bishops. After bishop e7, castles, rook c1, the game goes on, and there's a lot of play from both sides. But here, Abasov decides to play rook c1, bishop d6, and bishop to d3, and now I spent a lot of time in this position. Now, there are a couple of reasons I spent a lot of time. To give you guys a little bit of insight into the machinations of what goes.
Exactly. How do you better your life? Well, okay, I don't want to say that, you know, pompous, but How do you better your life? First, sign up for HelloFresh. Exactly, that's the first step to solving anything. Hikaru might be wondering, how do I win the candidates? Well, first of all, guys, here, this is a perfect example. You need something combative with the black pieces against 1d4. So step number 1, you get the courses. So you get the courses, you get a combative repertoire against 1d4 so you can play for a win without taking too much risk. That's what Hikaru said. You don't have to go crazy, but with my repertoire, you imbalance the position and you don't take too much risk. Now, after you get the repertoire, what do you do then? You have to be well rested. You have to be, full of energy. Then you get HelloFresh. So you get some nice nutrition in and you have a lot of energy during the game. That's a winning strategy. Let's keep watching.
Goes on in my head when I play games. Surprise, surprise, it is not solely pure chess calculations. There are a lot of things that go into this. First of all, Abasov is moving very quickly. So Abasov moving quickly, I was thinking to myself, this.
And then, if you want to relax, you play some Star Trek. Exactly. Yeah. Especially if you reach level 5, 12, or unlock a second ship, that's going to help you relax even more. That's what that's what Tony Montana said. In this country, you got to get the courses first. Then when you get the courses, you get the HelloFresh, and then you get Star Trek, and then you get exactly Tony Montana. Yeah, no, 100% spice. That's what he should have done. Hikaru plays under the American flag so he can buy some HelloFresh too. That's right. That's right. Yep. I'm sure that would say hello to the little course. Yeah. By the way, everyone, the courses are on sale, so check them out right now. Yes, I played actually Hikaru and Magnus in the same year, but played both of them in 2016. So I lost to Magnus at the World Rapid Championship, and I did beat Hikaru with the black pieces in the Isle of Man.
Probably his preparation, or he just wants to make a quick draw. I already thought he might be in the mood to make a draw because this doesn't seem like a very challenging setup. But because Abasov did not go bishop g5, this gave me the option here to spend 30 minutes trying to figure out whether to play this move e5. Now there's a famous saying, which we do have, of course, in the great Latin language, which is fortis fortuna do that, which of course means fortune favors the bold. Now I wanted to play this e5 move, but I really was unsure what was happening in the game after this move bishop g5. White can of course also trade the pawns on e5 here.
I mean, the thing is, like, after this trade, it's still very, very balanced. Like, it's almost impossible to win this position.
Was mentioned by Jan Ludwig Hammer during his live commentary of my game on my Kick channel, but after castles and rook d1, most likely the game is going to end in a draw. Black has an isolated pawn on d5, but black also has a much better wooden shield with this bishop on the e5 square. So first of all, white can try to make a quick draw with takes, but if I perceive that my opponent Abasov is still in his preparation, there's another option here, which is to play bishop to g5, and now I play this move e4, forking the queen and the bishop. After bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, white has a couple different ways to sack. Probably the best one is to sack the knight with knight takes pawn, takes, and after queen a5, king e2, and king e7, it's very, very unclear what's happening in this position. White has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 pawns versus 5. So white is down a horse, but in return he has 2 pawns here. But most importantly, we have the classic double pawn cloud with the kings being on e2 and e7. Now, when I spent the 30 minutes thinking about whether to play e5 or not, this was in my mind. I have to be honest with you guys. I was thinking to myself, okay, we get a double bonk cloud in the game. Great thumbnail. It's going to be double bonk cloud. Maybe this will get like an extra 20, 30,000 views, if not more. But on the other hand, yes, it's nice and fine. But what happens if I'm wrong and Abasov still in his preparation and I go on to lose the game from here? Yes, I mean, it is content, but if I lose, that is definitely not a good thing. And that probably means those 20, 30,000 extra people who will click on the thumbnail are not going to watch my future recaps because I'm no longer in the running to win the tournament. So I was really thinking about this. It was on my mind during the game whether I wanted to play e5. And ultimately, I rejected it for the fact that white could.
It'll be up soon, G photos.
And if that happens, it'll be
right now it's processing.
But if I'm wrong and this move is actually a blunder, this whole line with bishop g5 is in fact good for white. I felt that in this double bonk cloud position, white has very little risk here. And so if I'm wrong, I'm probably going to lose this position more than 75% of the time. So I felt like the risk reward was simply not there, especially based on the fact that if I lose the second game in a row, most likely my tournament is over in terms of trying to contend for the first place. So because of that, I decided to be a Debbie Downer here and play very boring old man chess by trading the bishops on f4. After bishop takes f4, we get queen takes f4, and now I decide to castle my king. And here, Abasov also castled, and now I play this move rook c8. Now during the game, I was actually briefly considering this move queen to b6 to try and hit this pawn on b2 before white has castled. But after a move like rook b1, castles, I didn't really love my position here for a couple of reasons. White has a very simple, straightforward plan, which is go rook c1, let's say rook c8, and now let's move knight to a4, bring the force to c5, pressure these pawns on b7 and a6. Let's say queen d8, knight c5, queen e7, and something like rook c3 with rook c1 and a double stack. And the computer thinks black is still fine here, but there is a little bit of pressure because of this force. So I decided to castle instead. Now we get castles, and I play this move rook c8. Here, Abasov plays move queen on 3. And this was the moment that I knew that Abasov simply wanted to make a draw immediately. Up to this point, Abasov is still moving instantly. This move queen on 3 is so passive and so quiet and does absolutely nothing here that it's clear that white doesn't have a plan. If Abasov were still in prep, I would have expected to play something like a3, followed by rook c2, and rook c1 to stack the rooks on the file. But this move simply does nothing other than retreat the queen backwards. Now, unfortunately for me, because of the pawn structure being so symmetrical here, I don't really have great chances to try and win the game. So even though white's playing with is not the best move, the pawn structure is so stable that it doesn't really change a lot. So here I play queen to d6. Now another idea I considered was play knight to e8 here, trying to play knight on d6. But after a3, knight d6, and knight a4, I simply was a little bit worried.
Yeah, definitely on something. Yeah.
Knight 5 and a lot of pressure on the queen side. So I go queen to d6, and here Abasov plays queen e2. Now I play the move knight to d7, and Abasov plays queen e2. Now once again, these moves are not very exciting. Abasov's moved the queen 1, 2, and now 3 over. But because the pawn structure is so symmetrical and so boring, again, there's no way for me to capitalize on these slightly imprecise moves. So here I play knight e7, Abasov goes knight e2. The idea that
want to be the car with black pieces by the courses, exactly. Yep. I don't know, Little Bo. I don't know. I haven't heard anything from that about that yet. I know that Chess on Earth was talking about it, but I haven't heard anything since.
Very simple. He wants to trade off all these rooks on the c5. Now I play move g6, the rooks come off, he plays rook c1, I trade, and now I go knight c6 back. Now at this point, I actually felt knight c6 was not the best move. I kind of felt like in reality I should have played queen c7 here, and after knight b3, maybe this move knight c8, so that when white goes queen b4 and I get knight d6, these knights are very, very well placed around d6 and d7. I can play for b6 and a5 down the road, and it's not to say that I can play for anything more, but maybe there'll be some chance for an imbalance later on. Instead, I play knight
yeah,
d6
like
here,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think around this point he resigned himself a little bit early to a draw. I think he should have just tried to keep the game going a little bit longer, even though it's pretty dry, and try, you know, to play, and hope for some chances later on. I mean, he is the better player. I think here's the thing. I think he gave Abbasov a little bit too much respect. Even though, of course, it's very difficult to do anything here.
Goes knight b3, and now I play this move queen b4. Now queen b4 is completely fine, but it's a way of trying to force the draw immediately. In this position, I also could have played something like king to g7 here, maybe. Perhaps e5 is possible. There are a lot of different ways to play it, but at the end of the day, in a position like this where it's going to be a draw pretty much no matter what I do, there's no reason to try and take any risk here. If I take risk and I'm wrong, effectively, as I said before...
I mean, he's not taking... Yeah, he's not taking too much risk here, I feel like, if he just keeps the game going. So, yeah.
Tournament is over immediately, and it's just not a position where a player of Abbasov's caliber is going to make a big mistake. So I go queen to b4, Abbasov trades the queens, and now he goes bishop to b1 back, and I play this move knight c6. Now knight c6 is a move that I played on purpose here to try and bait my opponent into playing for more. Now the reason this move might, or that I feel like this move might be a little bit imprecise, it gives white the very provocative option of playing knight c5 here, attacking the knight and the pawn at the same time. Now the reason this is so provocative is that here I can't just move my knight away because then I hang the pawn on b7 and lose the game, which means that I have to trade the knights, and now there's a big imbalance because white is going to try to push a3 and b4 and create a chain of 3 pawns, while I potentially have an extra pawn in the center of the board. So when I played this move, I was trying to bait Abbasov into playing knight c5. I'm going to be honest, I was not 100% sure what was happening in this endgame, but I felt there was no risk for me here because I played something like knight to e5, and after b3 stopping the knight from jumping to c4, now I go a5, a3, king f8, let's say f4, knight d7, white goes b4 to guard the pawn on c5, swap, knight d8, bishop to d3, and I felt that after knight 6, b5, and knight d8, I might have some slim chance of winning this game with the idea of knight d7. Sample line, say white goes g3, king e7, king f2, and knight d7. Now black is probably winning, because after c6 you swap, go knight to c5, attacking the bishop, let's say you go bishop to c2, king d6, suddenly white loses his pawn on c6, and black will have 5 pawns versus white's 4 pawns here on the king side.
Oh, very good question, G Photos.
So when I played knight c6, I was really trying to bait Abbasov to play knight c5, so it forces an endgame that is...
Yeah. Probably a draw. Prek super well prepared. I mean, I don't know what Hikaru should do with white pieces to try to right the ship, but I feel like here's the thing. It seems like some of these players are better prepared than him. He just has to keep playing the position, and try to outplay his opponents later on. He doesn't have to win the game out of the opening. He just has to keep play. That's the most important.
It's not completely clear-cut who's better, but unfortunately for me, Abbasov decides to play this move king to f1. Now this, of course, was a huge disappointment because when he goes king f1 in this position, I finally decided to play the move b6. And the reason I played b6 here is now I was not sure if I go king f8 whether this endgame is still good for me after knight c5. Let's say we trade here, and I play a5, king e2. Computer already, as you can tell from the bar, is starting to think that white might have a very, very small advantage here, and I felt that there's no reason to allow this now with the white king being close to the center. So I go b6 instead, which takes away this knight c5 square now from the horse. Abbasov plays bishop d3, and now the game ends in a repetition after knight b4, bishop b1, knight c6 back, and I play knight b4. Now, of course, in this position, I could play this with knight to d8 here, but after king to e2...
yeah, I mean, I'm mostly rooting for Hikaru or Fabiano. How much time did others take to prepare? I feel like pretty much all the other players, as soon as they prepared, as soon as they qualified, they started preparing. But here's the thing, guys, here's the thing. Most professional chess players, they train year-round. They almost almost every day, almost all day, they're training, they're grinding their chess, they're looking at openings, trying to find ways to improve their game. You know, Hikaru doesn't do that. He streams. And like he said many times, he's doing very well from streaming. That's good for him. And of course, then as a result, then he might not study as much. You know, that's how it goes. So yeah, like he said, he only really dedicated 3 weeks to the candidates, whereas other players, they prepare for, you know, months. Like you can tell that someone like Vidit, he qualified for the candidates early November, right? So already back then, he starts thinking like, hey, who do I want to ask to be in my team? And then already starts thinking like, hey, what openings do I want to play? And from that moment, he, you know, starts preparing. Even though he does have some tournaments in between. Right, Hikaru did get married last summer though. He got married before he qualified. And I mean, I think for him, that's only a positive thing in his life. I mean, it seems like he's happily married. That's great for him. So I think that that's been a very positive thing for us chess.
I go a5 here. White can bring the king to d2. Let's say I go king f8, king c3, king e7, knight c1, king d6, and I move like bishop to, I don't know, let's say c2, for example. White probably has a very small advantage in this position, simply because you can bring the bishop to this diagonal to pressure the knights. All my pawns on the king side are also on the same color as the slice where b on c2, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to try and play for more. Now, of course, I could have done this, and I'll be honest, if this were a blitz game, for example, I think I would have done this. Probably I would even win blitz, because generally speaking, in blitz games, knights are better than bishops. Like the knight on c6 would be better than the bishop on c2, but in a classical game of chess where both players have 2 hours for the whole game, that material imbalance that is so critical in blitz simply does not exist. So I simply didn't see any reason to keep the game going, so I played knight b4, bishop d1, knight d6, bishop to d3, and here the game ends by repetition, threefold repetition, and the game is a draw. Now keep in mind, it is not possible to offer a draw before move 40, according to the rules for this candidate's turn, so that's why we had to make a repetition. If not for that, probably the game would have been drawn somewhere around move 20, rather than ending on move number 29. Now, at any rate, it's obviously a little bit disappointing to play a game like this. It would have been nice to get an interesting game. The draw itself is not a big deal. I'm not particularly unhappy about the draw, but the way it came about without that much fight in the game is certainly disappointing. And maybe in retrospect, I should have gone for the classic double bond cloud, because if we got a double bond cloud, that would have been amazing stuff to see in a tournament like the candidates. But unfortunately today, content lost and the game and chess won. I guess you could say, or proper chess won, as the game ended in a draw. But it is what it is. We keep moving forward. Most of the games today were drawn. It does look like my opponent tomorrow, which of course is Ramesh Babu Pragnanatha, who I did lose to in the FIDE World Cup, is on the verge of winning against Vidit Santos Gujarati, which put both players back at an even score. Yesterday, I lost to Vidit, so Vidit went to a +1 score. Prag lost a tough game to Gukesh, but with Prag beating Vidit, both players are back to an even score as their wins and losses will cancel out. And tomorrow, I will be playing against Ramesh Babu Pragnanatha with the white pieces in the 4th round. Final game before we get our first rest day of the event. So I feel pretty good. Today was at least respectable compared to yesterday, and we move forward and we'll see what happens. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap of the 3rd round of the FIDE Canada's turn here in Toronto, Canada. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, make sure that you smash that subscribe button below, and we'll be back tomorrow with another recap after the 4th round in this Canada.
Exactly. Smash the subscribe button to this channel, to Benjamin's channel. That's right. Recap will be up soon for all of the games. Dang it, why does it take so... Okay, wait, I think video is ready to go up. Okay, I'll just put out the video. Yep. Okay, I think the video is up. Oh, wow, really? Wow. Yeah, I guess back then, that line was also considered to be dubious. Theory might not have been as well developed as it is now. The thing is, of course, today players can analyze lines so deep with the engine that even lines that seem dubious, if you keep checking moves and moves and moves, maybe you will find a way to make it work. You know? Because the best line for white might give his opponent something like a 0.8 advantage. But then, like I said, if you keep making moves, maybe, you know, the number keeps dropping down. And then, you know, maybe at some point black is fine. Yeah, I think he should have tried a little bit harder to beat him, but that's what I think. But of course, it's always easier. You know, just sitting here. All right. Video is up. Can you guys leave a like, leave a comment? Support YouTube. We really do appreciate it. All right. Is there anything else that was interesting? Okay, let's see. What do we have here? So the thing is, at the candidates, the chess bros are also there. Hikaru and the chess bros are good friends, so I'm sure they're gonna hang out outside the event as well. Let's have a look.
Welcome to the Chess Bra fan zone at the candidates. Aman, thoughts?
Man, I'm happy to be here. We have our very own fan zone. I feel like this is a follow-up from the Champions Chess Tour fan zone, and now I hope there's a fan zone at every event, but I mean, look at all the people that showed up. This is only day one. It's going to get a lot busier.
Yeah. It's a Thursday. People are starting to file in maybe after work, but it's a pretty nice space. We got the big TV, got the chairs, got the chess tables.
Okay, let's speed this up again, because there's a lot of stuff we have to cover. Let's do 1.5, I guess.
Got the bar for some snacks and refreshments. There's a coach check as well here.
Yep.
People doing their own interviews. You see Ari and Nemo down there. Yeah, it's the start of what's going to be a long month, but definitely looking forward to it. I mean, it's called the Chess Pro Fan Zone, so we do have to think about how to add some spice to it.
Add some Chess Pro iconic
energy.
moments.
So I'm kind of taking a look at the setting and figuring out, what I'm going to say up there, or we're going to take a poll of who people think will win, or anything and everything. But yeah.
Well, it's only day one, so if you come to the fan zone near the end of the tournament, there might just be
I don't know, Hunzing, I don't know.
Sub battle going on with shots.
Oh, thank you, Rami B.
You never know. So for now, I feel
Big shout out to Rami B for creating the thumbnail and doing some of the editing. Really do appreciate him. Oh yeah, video is up. Check it out. Leave a like, leave a comment. Would really appreciate it. Let me see, where is it? Here. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today was... So again, check it out, leave a like, leave a comment, that would really support the channel. And again, it's a way to support for free. Oh, thank you, G Photos. The first real comment, okay, awesome, that's awesome.
Kind of timid, like people are coming for the first time, they might get another ticket if they like it, but from what I've seen, like everyone's been rushing up to see the players, and when they're done, they always hang out in the fan zone, so this is the busiest spot in the entire venue.
Yeah, someone is saying this. Aryan Tari running like a giddy schoolgirl, almost getting 5 check it. Yeah, why is he running like that? Yeah.
To come up to see the digs, the VIP area here. Actually,
nice. That looks like some nice food.
Salads, wraps, sandwiches. Honestly, pretty nice. Very, very secluded, away from the riffraff. And I got some nice desserts right over there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I don't want to win here. I want man against man. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's right. Well, there's no one else I'll look at you next. Yeah, for sure. Would you like to record this game?
Only if I get the game after.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, I can take a picture of you. Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna get the camera for this. Wait, let me take a picture after you lose. No, I'm just kidding. Do your best. Focus.
Sorry.
Sorry. Get used to this. You're gonna shot now?
All right, guys. Of course, we got buddy Aryan Tari here. He will be at the fan zone, the Chess Pro fan zone, every single day. Really putting you to work, Aryan.
Yeah, so I'll be here. I'm the Grandmaster in residence. As you see behind me, a lot of people are watching the games and hanging out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny. Yeah, they call him the Grandmaster in residence. I guess at the Chessbra cave, which is I guess a bit of a joke, because the thing is, the St. Louis Chess Club always has a Grandmaster in residence, and actually I will be the Grandmaster in residence at the St. Louis Chess Club in like 10 days. In 10 days, I will be the GM in residence again. So it's kind of funny that they also call him that, but yeah, let's keep watching. Yeah, I will be back, Spice. Some nice lectures, some nice streams. yeah, be on the lookout for that.
A very cool crowd. I've even seen many Grandmasters here today. We have Italy's #1.
It's true, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I swear all the seconds of the guys competing, this is where they hang out. Because they've got nothing else to do.
I think the rating average is really, really high.
Yeah, actually, maybe we even bring the rating down.
Probably, actually. Yeah, I've seen already people with a higher rating than me here. Like, we have Evo 2.0.
Everything is good, haha, hish, yeah, no, definitely. Also, I guess Vocaturo is there, yeah? Vocaturo is Vidit second.
Anguli, a lot of strong games. And you see there are boards here. You can play Blitz against people, watch the games. It's a very nice place to hang out.
Very social.
You can get drinks over there. There's a bar. You can have coffee.
I would think, though, that, hey! Who is that? You guys know who that is. I think that's Lil Jon. I'm pretty sure that's Lil Jon. That's Hikaru's second. No, that's not Pep Guardiola. Yeah, no, I think that, yeah, they make a very good point. Like a lot of these seconds probably have not much to do. Although, I was gonna say, I would think that a lot of these seconds, if their player is playing, like, they might be preparing for the next game, but maybe they just want to, yeah, relax as well.
Yeah, there's all sorts of like chess personalities, but then there's the fans as well, and they're all in the same room. So I mean, you want to just have a chat with a grandmaster, or maybe speak to the second of the guy who's actually playing the game, then it's right here in the fan zone.
What is the GM in residence? So the GM in residence at the St. Louis Chess Club is a GM that's just teaching at the club for usually a period of 3 weeks. At least that's what I'm gonna be doing at the club. Well, so I have had a second at some tournaments. I mean, I wouldn't like reveal that on stream or something, but like usually my colleagues could, you know, guess who that could be. Why is the candidates a joke? Haha, hish.
It's honestly the best place to get some insights about what's actually going on in the tournaments. Yeah, because you have all the seconds here.
So you'll find this guy here literally every single day.
Can't wait to see you.
See you guys in person.
How are you? We're going to go in front of people. I'm going to pause the podcast and we're just going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here. Amon will mainly be talking, but...
Caleb is never going to be my second, no.
Merchandise store upstairs.
But, you know, Caleb definitely not, but honestly, the Bach Hype Man is not that much worse than Hikaru's second. If Bach Hype Man, if he would figure out how to work with computers, you know, maybe I would take him on as a second. Nice. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think it's a cool idea. Like you said, it's a nice way to follow the tournament in person. You know, hang out, talk to some people. Yeah. No, almost all top level guys have a second. Because why would you not? If you have a game, you don't want to spend all of your own energy preparing for the game. You want to have someone else preparing for you, so you save your energy for the game. Lil Jon is not an IM. Lil Jon is a candidate master, national master. Is like 2200 FIDE, which is very unique. Most of the top players, their seconds are GMs, or at least IMs. But most GMs, yeah. Like most top players, they have a second who's like 2600 or so, like a good player themselves, yeah. Oh damn, really? Okay, well, send me the link to the interview and we will do some React Andy.
Just introducing ourselves, right? And letting people know. You can go in front.
Wait, they're going a lot, wait. So let's see who's there, wait. Ah, really? Okay. Let's see who we recognize. Of course, we saw Eric, Amon, and Arion Tori. Do we recognize any of the seconds?
What it did introduce the three of us because we're going to be here all the time, hosting fan zone. We got the broadcast on. My name is Long Hamilton, Grandmaster. Arya Tari, Grandmaster from Norway, and of course Eric Hansen, Grandmaster.
Oh no, that was great. That was great, Haish.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys were familiar with us. Please come up to us. We're happy to talk about the games, analyze, play some chess, some blitz, some bullet on the back boards as well. So just want to make sure you're familiar with us. And yeah, please don't be shy. We got the FIDE merch store upstairs as well that you guys are welcome to check out. Please do. Want to add anything, Eric?
Well, we're just trying to make this space the fun zone. Right? You can only spend an hour on the balcony up there, so feel free to hang out here, play games, ask anything. We're going to be here the whole month. We just want to make it a nice casual vibe. So again, don't hesitate to ask us about anything. Our job is to help the experience here, because yeah, you don't have that much time to play ball. So, all right, anyway.
Yeah, well, we're gonna, at least I'm going to be here every day, so I'm looking forward to talk to you guys, maybe play some games, talk about the positions. Just feel free to come to me if you want to game and just chat about chess. Yeah, looking forward to hang out with you guys.
Oh wow, that's amazing, Haish.
Yeah, we were even thinking about what some casual, almost like this in the back, like a ladder system, maybe some puzzle.
So I'm sure I saw Little John. They're saying that Vidit second is also there, but I didn't see him.
Clearing this up, so just the first day, and, you know, working with the organizers here, but people have requests, whether like, hey, we want to do this or trivia or just something during some of the breaks, yeah, feel free to give us some feedback. We're open to most ideas. But otherwise, yeah, welcome day one, and I look forward to it. Any other audience questions?
My name's Robert. I want to know if you can predict the outcome of I think he's facial expressions.
I'd love to have a dedicated camp. It's incredible. It's incredible.
What do you mean, why are the chess bros talking? I mean, well, they are hosting the fan zone. That's why they're talking.
He's looking down. Thank you very much. You're all there.
Oh, you got me.
So the live position is, because you have to compare the position to the face, of course. Let's see what's going on. Opposite bishops. But that means, I feel like people think.
Very good question. What is a second? So I think the term second only exists in the realm of chess. Now in most realms, you would just call that a trainer. But in chess, I think it's most specifically called a second. Because it is someone who is, you know, preparing for you. So normally when you prepare for yourself, right? Whereas a second, they prepare for someone else. So they will check the opponent that their boss, so to speak, they will check the opening that the opponent of their boss will play, so that their boss doesn't have to play themselves. No, sorry, that their boss doesn't have to prepare themselves, so they don't have to waste a lot of energy, and that they can keep their energy for the game. So it's just another word for trainer or coach. But usually it's not called a trainer or a coach because they're not like teaching them stuff, but it is more, you know, someone that is checking openings for them. So hopefully that makes sense. Options are my friends, but good question. If you are a second and you still compete, do your seconds become thirds? No, then they are just your seconds. I would say, Little Bo, you want to have as many seconds as possible, but I think, yeah, someone asked this to Anish, you know? Like, why doesn't someone have more seconds? Does that cause confusion? He's like, well, it doesn't cause confusion, but it causes you to go bankrupt. Because of course you have to pay for your seconds, you have to pay for your trainers. So if you hire a lot of people, you have to pay more people. Are seconds expensive? So yeah, I feel like this topic about seconds has become really popular this candidates. A lot of seconds, they charge something like $500 a day. Or like at least a couple $100 a day. So if you want to have a second for, let's say, the entire candidates, which is like let's say 3 weeks, 3 weeks, yeah? Or 20 days, 20 days. So let's say you have someone there, you pay them $500 a day, that's $10,000. Plus expenses. So, you know, it's definitely costly. So what some people do, most people, they do have a second or two there, but also they have a lot of seconds perhaps at home that work remotely, which makes a lot of sense. So they don't have to pay for all of their seconds expenses.
Opposite bishops, I think draw. I see opposite bishops here, I think. Good chances.
All right. Okay, let's see what else we have.
Hikaru Nakamura is here with us.
No, sometimes it works if players are in different time zones. Because here's the thing. Let's say Hikaru is here's the thing. If Hikaru has a second in Toronto, right? Right now it's getting late in Toronto, so Hikaru is going to go to bed, and his second is going to go to bed as well. So then when Hikaru wakes up, his second wakes up, and then there's only a few hours left. Let's say Hikaru's second is in Europe. Let's say Hikaru has a second in Europe, right? Then at some point Hikaru, like by the time Hikaru goes to bed, maybe his second will wake up. And then his second will do a lot of work. You know, let's say those 8 hours or whatever that normally the second would be sleeping, he can get a lot of work done. So but by the time Hikaru wakes up, his second will have all of the work done, send it to him, and then he's good, you know? It's not like, oh, his second would have to wake up in the morning, then get all of the work done. Well, Magnus would never work as a second, Michael Wold. Neither would Hikaru.
After the draw with Ninja Basov, so how do you assess today's game?
Yeah, it was very boring. I mean, it's a very tricky tournament because after yesterday's disaster, not really sure whether we sell or take big risk, but kind of...
Yeah, it's all just running computers, just clicking moves with the mouse. Kind of like what I've been teaching you, G Photos. Clicking moves in chess base with the mouse, with the engine, checking what other players have played, checking what the computer suggests as the best moves, and just analyzing as many different options as possible. That is what seconds do. I'm not a second for anyone, no. AI, I mean, you could argue that AI is already a second because they use engines for their preparation.
Unbeknownst to me, my opponent apparently was feeling very, very sick, and so he made a very logical choice to play the exchange Slav. Perhaps if I'd known this, I would have done something different, but I mean, he's still a very strong player, and I mean, what to do sometimes.
Well, you said yesterday's disaster, but you're trying to play really interesting chess here. So after yesterday's game, will you change this attitude, or we will still see some really interesting, some really daring chess from you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very tricky, of course, because you can take big risks, but I mean, obviously there are a couple openings that I consider before the game, but still you come up with a game plan, and changing it this early I think is kind of stupid. Now, of course, as I said, if I'd known my opponent wasn't feeling well, I probably would have just done something random anyway, but without knowing that, I think it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And on the other hand, if I were to like go crazy and lose today, I think there's a very good chance the tournament is just over, objectively speaking. So it didn't seem like the right moment after yesterday to go crazy, and I was hoping I'd get a game, but also when you're playing with black pieces, unless you take massive risks from the start, your opponent generally has many...
Well, here's the thing. I feel like Hikaru, he doesn't have to go crazy. He needs to find a balance. That is my humble opinion. Because today was too solid. So you also don't have to go completely crazy. You want to take controlled risk. So you want to try to imbalance the position, but not go crazy at the same time. Right? But you do want to try to imbalance it a little bit more than what happened today. I think that's what he has to try to do. But of course, like, you know, today was the only chance, let's say with the black pieces against that his opponent was severely underrated. Yeah, Benoni. I mean, Benoni is a little bit... Well, Benoni, that's the other... That's what I mean when... That's definitely a little bit risky. But of course it is difficult because you have to keep in mind that also these players are super well prepared. Also, by the way, hello everyone. Hello, Monkey. Hello, Chris. Hello, Issies. Hello, Hops. Hello, Pompous. Turnips. Wainscoting. By the way, guys, we're pushing on Kick for their Kick program. Look at this. We need... Okay, now we also need to get viewership up a little bit. But the main goal is more chatters. We need 145 more chatters on Kick. So if you have not said hi yet, go over to Kick, follow the channel, and say hi. That would be really appreciated.
Paths to try and force around. Even my game yesterday, before I went for this whole knight c4 thing, or d takes e5, and there are a couple ways I could just kill the game very quickly. So
Hello,
it's
Spice.
all relative, and I was hoping my opponent would take a chance. He didn't take a chance, and that's what it is. But at least I get a nice day off.
But we definitely hope that you will not kill off your games too early. We
Hello,
want to see
Chicken
this
Pants.
fighting spirit that
Chicken
you bring
Pants,
here,
good to see you.
in the future games too. Like as you said, yes.
Chicken Pants, thanks for the gifted sub to the Chess Bros channel. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, Chicken Pants. Hope you have been enjoying, what the Chess Bros have been doing over there. Looks pretty cool.
You could kill it off early, but you didn't, and that's what we are really hoping for, for this fighting spirit in the future games.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
awesome.
the opportunities, I'm just looking at the other games. I mean, Prague played this completely insane variation in Spanish, and I think top down, I can't see it right now, but his game also looked very, very complex. I mean, he was up a lot of time very early against Ali Reza. Actually, now I can see he has 2 bishops. Like, I have a feeling that, and I was, my training camp before the event, I actually was thinking about this. I had a feeling that there's a good chance the score's going to be very high, the winning score this time, which of course means that if people start winning 2-3 games very quickly, I'll have to take chances, and if I lose, I lose. But I'll try to play some interesting chess for sure.
So not only you're playing the tournament, you're also doing the recaps. You're investing a lot of time on that. Does it help you take your mind off things, after the game, or how?
Hello, G Photos.
Let's say situation.
Well, I mean, I don't think it has any impact psychologically, but at the end of the day, and I don't mean to repeat myself, but of course I will. I mean, I definitely consider content creation, making these videos, explaining things to fans, my main job, the main thing that I do. So I feel like I have some responsibility to the fans. Certainly, try and do this. Actually, if I were to say anything, I think it's I don't want to say disappointing, because of course the other players aren't used to doing it, but I think it's for the fans at least. It's very, very disappointing that like Fabiano, for example, maybe some of the Indians aren't doing recaps. Of course, like if English isn't your first language, I understand it's quite different, but it would be nice if some of the other players did this. I think it's possible to explain what's going on in the games without giving away preparation, perhaps. And I think a lot of players are maybe a little bit afraid of that they'll say too much, and then of course you give something away to your opponents, and it's difficult. But for myself at least, I think I'm pretty used to it, and I just feel like giving back to the fans, and I hope they enjoy the recaps.
Yeah, absolutely they do. Thank you, Hikaru, and see you next time.
All right. Okay. Let's check. Is there another video? Okay, nice.
My name is Fabiano Caruana, and I play chess. Growing up in New York was great. I do love the city. I had a childhood that was mostly like a lot of sports and running around outside and riding bikes with friends and playing sports in like the schoolyard. Then at some point to my parents' regret, I got my first video game at some point. So then I wanted to play video games all the time. And that's when I started playing chess. I started around the age of between 5 and 6 because I had some problems with like my attention. It was suggested as a way to maybe improve my ability to concentrate and my attention span. And just started playing with kids in an after-school program, and then got noticed by a chess coach there. Then I started playing tournaments. I do like have a very clear memory of my first tournament where I lost all my games on time because I forgot to press the clock. Your opponent doesn't have to tell you to press it, but usually my opponents were much older and probably felt bad for me, would remind me. But eventually I just like would lose on time in all the games. So the first outing wasn't too successful. I really always enjoyed playing. I loved to play, but I didn't enjoy studying too much. That was never something that grabbed my attention. I didn't want to study. I didn't even want to take lessons, although I did. But yeah, playing was like the majority of my enjoyment came from playing. From my teenage years forward, yeah, it was very atypical, not having the social connections that you would normally get going to school or just having friends that you meet in school and then become friends in other aspects of your life. Yeah, all the other things that are associated with like high school and applying to college, all those things didn't really happen for me. But I think you can't have everything. Of course, it would be nice to experience everything, but if you put all of your time and effort into this one area, trying to get as good as you can at it, then you can't focus so much on other things. It's just, It's just the way it is. If I hadn't had this life from an early age, then I probably wouldn't be the chess player I am today.
Hahahish is saying, I think Caruana and Hikaru have decided to draw all their games. Well, that's kind of interesting because Fabiano has already won a game and Hikaru has already lost the game. So it's going to be difficult for them to draw all of their games, but you know, maybe they'll manage.
Road to the World Championship started with the candidates in 2018. I had already qualified through a very difficult path to get to the candidates because in 2017, it's already going over a year before the match. In 2017, it wasn't sure at all that I would qualify for the candidates. It was a rating race between Wesley So, Vladimir Kramnik, and myself, and it was very tight. It wasn't at all clear, and also I got like deathly sick during the 2017 World Cup. I got tonsillitis.
I feel like, by the way, Wesley has missed out on way too many candidates. Like, Wesley is not here this year. He was not there in 2022. He wasn't there in 2020. Wesley was there in 2018, but he did pretty badly, and he also wasn't there in 2016. Like, Wesley's only played one candidates. While Wesley is the GOAT. Wesley is the absolute GOAT. Well, actually, in the last couple of games, Fabiano has been struggling, especially with the black piece against Hikaru. So I wouldn't say they just make draws.
I recovered, and I beat Kramnik in a really, really important game for the rating race. So after I beat him in that game, then kind of my candidate spot was almost locked in. It was probably the tournament which is most dear to me in terms of like competitive pride that I would take in a tournament. That's the biggest one for me. And I qualified for the World Championship against Magnus. It was a close match. Of course, mostly looking back at on it, it's like what I could have done better. But it's always hard to say, you know, like I definitely did many things right, and I definitely did some things wrong. It's not even just a psychological thing, it's even a physical thing. It's like when you sit down, you realize that this isn't a normal event. It's not like I have people next to me also playing games. It's just us. And we were in a glass box with about, at the start of the game, like 40 cameras surrounding the table, which of course cleared out as the game progressed, but at the start, it was just like the flash of cameras. Yeah, it was a very strange feeling, and we had a shared rest area. Of course, normally both of us wouldn't be resting at the same time, because if I've made a move and I'm resting, then it's his time to play, and he's not going to be in the rest area. It was a very interesting experience, very intense for a long time, psychologically, going, not just during the match, but also going into it. I was really sort of psychologically shaky, like I was just very, very nervous going into it. Still, I think I handled it, psychological part of the nerves, pretty well. My play never, like, dropped massively. There were some bad moments during the match, of course. Some, like, big mistakes. But it was never like I completely lost control, which can also happen. You can't even criticize someone for that because it's not possible.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point, Contrarian. Back in the days when they would tell a fidgety young boy to play chess instead of filling them with ADHD, yeah. Exactly.
To say, like, be more psychologically stable. It's something that just happens in the moment and you can't prepare for it, you can't train for it. In the end, it did come down to a tiebreak, and Magnus was objectively going to be the favorite in this match. I mean, our ratings were close at the time, separated by 3 points when we started the match. But yeah, of course, Magnus, everyone was considering him either a slight or a big favorite coming into the match. Somehow it stayed level. We went to tiebreaks, and tiebreak I lost pretty severely. It went wrong from the start, and then it snowballed. And yeah, that's basically the summary of it. Well, I've always had this sort of feeling that like there will always be another chance, but definitely there was part of me that was like, yeah, this was you just squandered a big chance for sure. So if I look back, I can have some regrets about moves that I could have made, different decisions I could have done, or some things which weren't in my control that I feel like maybe I got some bad luck. You know, it's just something. I'm not gonna like say specifically what I mean by that, but like there's always some things that you feel like luck wasn't on your side. Like I don't know if I'll get another chance. I might. I mean, I'll keep trying, of course. There's definitely no guarantee. Yeah, maybe when in 2016 when I was like 23 years old at the time of the candidates, I probably thought, okay, there's going to be like millions of chances. And now I realize, of course, there aren't millions of chances. I mean, you might get some, you might get none, right? It's not a guarantee. So that's a bit more of a conscious thought that I have now, that like every chance is pretty important because it might not come again.
Yeah, it's kind of rough, you know, because he was very close to defeating Magnus in the match in 2018. And here's the thing. If Fabiano qualifies for a World Championship match now, he has better chances to win, but it probably wouldn't feel as satisfactory because then he would be Ding in a match. Whereas back then he would have beaten Magnus. He would have truly been the world champion. I mean, if you defeat Magnus in a match. Now, of course, if you defeat Ding, you still are, but that doesn't feel like the same thing. You know?
...2020 candidates, it was very strange because it was split up into two parts.
Hello everyone on Kick. Hello Drew Hard. Welcome. Hello Chris. Welcome to the channel. Wait, are those some new chatters? Okay, well, you know, one more chatter. There we go. We keep pushing up the numbers.
Of COVID, we were in Russia, and at some point they said we're postponing the tournament after 7 rounds. I was playing white against Maxime in the 8th round, and we had no idea what to do against him. And then at that exact moment, while we were...
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Like, he has no idea what to do. You're like, normally he would be a little bit screwed, right? Because he had to win that game with the white piece to get back in the event. He's like, shoot, what do I do, you know? Like, the game's coming up in, like, few hours, what do I... And then they're, like, canceled, and he's like, oh, you know, now I've got a full year to prepare. That's not bad. And he, yeah, he put Maxime under a lot of pressure from the very beginning, and he won the game.
Preparing. I remember the time. It was, like, 12:23, and we were preparing for Maxime. Rustam, my coach, he gets a phone call that basically says, like, okay, the tournament is getting postponed now, and you're going home. This was like I forget when the game started, but it was basically like an hour and a half before the game. And then instead I play him a year later. I beat him, mostly because I prepared a line for like months and months and beat him like 90% by preparation. Of course, I wasn't really part of the picture in terms of I was never really close to winning that tournament. It also definitely changed chess history a little bit in terms of Jan playing a world championship match against Magnus. After that, he also played another world championship match. He won the 2022 candidates. This time, there was nothing unusual about the tournament. He just dominated. Halfway through, I was +3 after 7 rounds. Jan was +4. And Magnus was talking about potentially not defending his title. I think basically Magnus said he would consider not defending his title, and he probably wouldn't, unless Alireza wins and qualifies for the match, and then he would probably play Alireza. And to me, it kind of sounded a bit like not very clear, and when the statement wasn't clear, I decided it's better to just assume that he'll play, and assume that first place is the only place that matters, which in hindsight was a mistake, but that was my feeling. It would have also really hurt to, like, let's say, shoot for second place, and Magnus is like, well, I really don't want to give it up, and I'll play on for the World Championship. And then my second place doesn't amount to anything. So, of course, in hindsight, it's very easy to say that I made, like, some very rash kind of decisions during the tournament. It's easy to speculate, but the way it did happen, of course, Ding got second, and I ended up becoming world champion. I commentated on the match, which I wasn't sure that I would do, but I ended up doing the last half of the match between Ding and Jan. I commentated on the final moments of Ding becoming world champion, which were kind of surreal. I do remember that I vividly remember this. I had a dream probably around the age of 10 that I would become world champion. It still hasn't obviously materialized, but I would like to achieve that dream at some point. It wasn't like it was like a dream, like I actually dreamt it. And I don't know if it will look anything like it did in the dream, but it would be interesting to see how it would look. I'm playing the 2024 candidates again. This one is a bit different because now the young guys have started to become really strong. So it's a mix of the old guard and the younger generation But now even Ali Reza is considered one of the more experienced guys. We have players like Gukesh, who I'm not even sure if he's turned 18 yet, and Pragnanta, who I think is 19. And so
Hello,
we have
Johar.
this,
Welcome
like,
to
young
the Kick
generation,
channel.
and then we have
My favorite color, you know, growing up was always green. I wouldn't say I really have a favorite color now, but it definitely was green when I was growing up. So, you know, definitely feeling at home here on Kick.
consider myself old, but we would be called the old guard, I guess. We'll see how the newer players and also older ones can handle the pressure. Because last year, or 2 years ago, that is.
Hello, little
I
hype
didn't handle
man.
the pressure very well, despite having a lot of experience.
Hello, Mr.
Still,
Hype
I
Man.
wasn't
How's it
able
going,
to
little bro?
manage that. It's not necessarily in a case where experience gives you a huge advantage, because every time is different.
Little.
And also you change every time. So I'm not the same player I was 2 years ago, or certainly not 8 years ago.
Yeah, but I'm 7'2", so everyone's little to me.
It doesn't make such a huge difference is because in my first candidates, I did have a good performance and I almost won. I think a lot of it is just coming into
Exactly.
like how good your form is. You can't always control it. You can do your best, but you don't always know what circumstances will affect it, what will go right, what will go wrong. I think it will be a very hard-fought event, and I'm not expecting something like last time where someone dominated, where Jan dominated. If I had to make one prediction, it'll be like very closely contested. I think that I can play well, so I don't have to prove that. It's just that I'm not going to take for granted that I qualified, because it wasn't at all guaranteed that I qualified last time or that I'll qualify next time. I understand fully, I think everyone does, but I understand maybe better because I played so often that it's just how difficult it is to win a tournament like this. Even when everything was going my way in 2018, there were so many ups and downs that I had to overcome. So I know that even if things go well, it's a huge road.
All right. Okay, I think. Does anyone else have any videos to read? I think honestly I'll just get going soon. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wrap up. Just want to relax and whatnot. Alright, I will see you guys later again. I would really appreciate if you check out the YouTube video and leave a like, leave a comment. That's it though. So I will see all of you later. I will send you guys over to the Goat Hunter on Twitch. And on Kick, I will send you guys over to Darks, fellow Kick streamer. So say hi to him, make sure to drop him a follow. What do you mean G photos? African or European? What is the airspeed of an I don't know. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Yeah, big W's in the chat. A couple of things. Join my Discord. We've got a great community there. Follow on Kick. Pretty much same thing as Twitch. Would really appreciate that. We have a tournament coming up pretty soon in 5 days already. So I'm definitely gonna prepare for that. Make sure I'm well rested. Check out the courses, they are on sale. Taking on a few more students in case anyone is interested. Anyway, I'll send you guys over to Hunter, and on Kick, I'll send you guys over to Darks. See you guys later, maybe tomorrow. Monty Python jokes, I barely know her. But is Dark still alive? It said, huh? Uh-oh. Chess category dead again on Twitch. Oh, sorry, on Kick. Who do we raid on Kick? I honestly don't know. Quick. Who do we raid? I don't know. There's no one to raid. Shoot. This happens every single time. By the way, we're still live on Kick, in case anyone is still here. I don't even know. Alright, I mean, I guess this guy is let's rate this guy. It's whatever. Alright, see you guys. Kick doesn't have bits, but you can still donate. What? I really don't know who to raid. Yeah, just subs. Kick just has subs. Photo chess is not on Kick, right? I don't think photo chess is on here. You know what? For you guys, I will send you guys over to XQC. Bye. I don't care.